Hello duelists, Rusmero here, and today we're going to be opening the new structure deck card, Lost Sanctuary. To start, here's a look at the playmat featuring the new Hyperion Synchro Monster. Now let's get into the deck itself. First we have the new dark version of Master Hyperion, Majesty Hyperion in Ultra Rare. Even his attack and defense are the reverse of the Master's. So similar to the Master, you can special summon this card from your hand or grave by banishing one the Agent monster from your hand, field, or graveyard. So in exchange for the reduced attack, Majesty can be special summoned from both the hand and the grave. The original Master's effects only allowed it to be special summoned from the hand. And of course you can only special summon Majesty Hyperion once per turn this way. Second effect, all battle damage you take from battles involving your fairy monsters is also inflicted to your opponent. Now I find this effect a bit self-contradictory because although it can be pretty useful when your life is higher than your opponent's and then you can kind of like just win the duel by crashing your weak monsters into the opponent, this effect basically becomes meaningless when you have your key field spell Sanctuary of the Sky in the field because then you won't be taking any battle damage from the battles with your fairy monsters at all. Finally, third effect, once per turn you can banish one fairy monster from your hand or grave, then target one card in either grave and banish it. If the Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field or in the grave, you can use this effect up to twice per turn. So again, we see a very strong parallel and inversion compared to the original Master Hyperion, which destroyed cards on the field, whereas this one, Majesty, banishes them from the grave. Next we have a new agent, the Agents of Life, Neptune. This card name's first and second effects can only be activated once per turn. First effect, you can discard this card, special summon one the Agent monster from your hand or grave, except the Agent of Life Neptune, but it cannot be tributed until the end of your opponent's next turn. However, if the Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field or in the grave, you can special summon one Hyperion monster instead. Second effect, if this card is banished, you can add one the Sanctuary in the Sky from your deck to your hand. So that's just a really nice support for Hyperion and the entire deck as a whole. I feel like in this deck, he's just a really good card to have whether it's in the early, mid, or late game because he can just help you bring out an Agent or Hyperion for free, and if your opponent manages to shut down your Sanctuary in the Sky for some reason, you can easily banish him as the cause for either your Hyperion or Agent effects and just a search for another one. So really you discard him, get the free special summon, use the special summon monster's effect to banish him, and then you search for a Sanctuary. And of course we have to have a reprint of the original Master Hyperion in Super Rare. Now honestly, this is a deck that I've never really paid much attention to in the past, but I've always thought this guy has some super cool badass artwork. Like even like this, I like him better than Majesty Hyperion. Next we have a new spell card, Chorus in the Sky. You can only activate one card with this name per turn. Pay 1000 life, then target one fairy monster in your grave, add it to your hand. Then, if the Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field or in the grave, you can add one of your banished the Sanctuary in the Sky or one of your banished cards that specifically lists that card in its text to your hand. Well, what can I say? It's just a really good search for the deck, man. And next we have a new trap card, the Lost Sanctuary, so taking the name of the structure deck itself. You can only activate one card with this name per turn, and this card name's third effect can only be activated once per turn. This is a continuous trap. First effect, when this card is activated, set one the Sanctuary in the Sky or one spell trap that specifically lists that card in its text directly from your deck. Second effect, this card's name becomes the Sanctuary in the Sky while in the field or in the grave. Now, just seeing this alone, right? I think this is really the key ultimate support card that you're adding to the deck this time. Because essentially, it's another Sanctuary in the Sky for you to draw into, and the most insane part is that even in the grave, it acts as Sanctuary in the Sky. So that will really like act as the fuel for your new Agent and Hyperion effects as well. Third effect, you can banish one fairy monster from your grave, then target one effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of this turn, even if this card leaves the field. And that is just solid effect negation to have. Okay, so with that, I think we're moving into reprint territory now. So here we have Uranus, the Agent of Death. Of course, Holy Shine Ball, was it? Yes, Holy Shine Ball. In order to summon with, was it Venus? We have a copy of Artifacts, Longinus, Silky, Eve. I'm not sure. Is Eve the name of this card in the TCG? I can't quite remember. And of course, for some reason they decided to just add this like insane reprint, although I'm not too sure what it even has to do with this deck or why they should put it in. But here we have Neville, but I mean whatever reasons they have aside, it's just a great reprint to have. And of course, Sanctuary in the Sky, normal, parallel, rare. And one of the pots, there are too many of them in Japanese for me to remember their names. Okay, next we have the Agent of Judgment, Saturn. The Agent of Wisdom, Mercury. The Agent of Power, Mars. And the Agent of Miracles, Jupiter. Mystical Shine Ball in common, because of course we need multiple copies of that. Christia, of course, the Special Summon Banner. Vanity's Ruler, to prevent your opponent from special summoning even more. Sacred Soul. Here we of course have Zeradias. Basically a staple for Sanctuary decks, right? Next, Spirit Sculptor. And what is this? There are so many cards I'm unfamiliar with because I just don't play fairies at all. Barrier Statue of the Heavens. Wow, I've actually never even heard of this card at all. Prevents both players from special summoning non-light monsters. Pretty interesting. And what do we call these guys again? They are Declarers in the OCG. Right, Heralds, right? In the TCG, here we have Herald of Orange Lights because they're always a different color. Next, Cupid Volley. And we're moving into the spells, cards from the sky, the Sanctuary of Parshaf. Yep, definitely want to add this new card in there. Demise of the Land, Light of Redemption, Creature Swap. This deck is really giving me like old structure deck, starter deck kind of vibes now. Reasoning, and Raigeki, or Thunderbolt in the OCG, Harpy's Feather Duster. And moving into traps, first we have Divine Punishments, Miraculous Descent, Balance of Judgment, right. Compulsory Evacuation Device, one of my favorite traps from back in the day. The Ring of Destruction, Kaiba's favorite. Typhoon, okay. And now ending off with some extra deck cards. So first we have Herald of Pure Light, the rank 2 Herald XCs, and Lord Parshaf, the Link 3 Parshaf Link monster, and then a new Synchro Agent monster, Pluto. The Executor of Hades, Pluto, is a level 5 Synchro monster where the conditions are 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner monsters. This card is always treated as the Agent card. This card name's second effects can only be activated once per turn. First effect, once per turn you can banish one monster from your grave, then target one effect monster on the field, change it to face down defense position. That's pretty good. Like, well, he's basically a Book of Moon. Wait, does he have something to do with the moon? No, he's the Executor of Hades, Pluto, so I don't really see a link there, but that's a nice effect. And this becomes a quick effect if the Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field or in the grave, which, as we've established earlier with the new Lost Sanctuary, this is just going to be so easy to fulfill. Second effect, you can banish this card from your grave to add one the Sanctuary in the Sky from your deck or grave to your hand. That's pretty solid and interesting. A Synchro monster that becomes a Searcher once it is destroyed. But alright, that'll be all for the main deck. Now we have, as usual, our bonus pack. This time it's called the Arrival of the Sun God pack, because within it, we will now obtain the Sun God Master Flare Hyperion, and it looks like he is going to be a random secret rare, which is just epic. So Master Flare is a level 10 Synchro monster which requires 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner fairy monsters. This card name's first and second effects can only be activated once per turn. First effect, you can send one the Agent monster or one monster that specifically lists the Sanctuary in the Sky in its text from your hand, deck, or extra deck to the grave. Until the end phase, this card's name becomes the Sense monster's original name and replace this effect with that monster's original effects. Dude, I love this effect so much. Like, first, on one level, I just love the flexibility of being able to just send any Agent or Sanctuary in the Sky related card from your deck to the grave, and then being able to choose from that entire repertoire of effects to use the one that is most suitable to counter the current situation. I just love the versatility and flexibility and the possibilities of that. And the fact that you can send monsters from the extra deck as well is so interesting. Like, obviously it's really limited because you have to send an Agent or a Sanctuary in the Sky related card, but For example, you can send something like Pluto and get the Book of Moon effects, and then by sending Pluto to the grave, you can then use Pluto's effect from the grave to banish him to search for a sanctuary in the sky. So while I think there isn't really anything like super OP or busted you can do with this, I just think it's such a cool, flexible effect that goes so well and complements the other cards in the deck so much. Second effect, which is a quick effect. When your opponent activates a card or effect, you can banish one fairy monster from your hand or grave, then target one card on the field and banish it. So, well, I guess it's not bad, but it's a bit of a shame that it doesn't go to the level of negation, because they'll probably be more useful. Next, we have a new Link agent, Guard of the Agents, Moon. Okay, that's pretty interesting because, you know, the agents are all one planet, Hyperion is kind of like the sun himself, and now we have the Moon that kind of helps out. So she's a Link 2 monster that requires 2 fairy monsters to Link summon. This card name's first and second effects can only be activated once per turn. First effects. If this card is Link summoned, you can send one the Sanctuary in the Sky or one card that specifically lists that card in its text from your deck to the grave. Or, if the Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field or in the graveyard, you can add one the Agent of Mystery Earth from your deck or grave to your hand instead. I see. So Moon will help you to instantly throw a Sanctuary in the Sky into the grave, or if you've already done that, lets you search for Earth, which will really help you set up your Hyperions. Second effect, you can tribute one fairy monster, then target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. Okay, I guess you can tribute Moon herself if she's a girl, because yeah, I guess after you Link summon her, you won't really need her to be on the board anymore unless you're going into something that's of a higher link, so that's actually pretty not bad. And our final new card in this structure deck is going to be a spell, the Sacred Water of the Sky. This card name's first and second effects can only be activated once per turn. First effect, activate one the Sanctuary in the Sky directly from your deck, or add one monster that specifically lists that card in its text from your deck to your hand. Then, if the Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field or in the grave, you can gain 500 life for each Hyperion and the agent monster you control. Okay, recovery. Because I do think there's an agent that triggers some sort of effect when your life is higher than your opponent's, right? Second effect, if your monster that specifically lists the Sanctuary in the Sky in its text would be destroyed by battle, you can banish this card from your grave instead. Okay, a Searcher, Healer, and Destruction Protector all in one card. And finally, our last 2 reprints are going to be super rares. First, of course, we have the Agent's Earth, which is going to be your Agent and Master Hyperion Searcher. And of course, the Agent of Creation Venus, which is just a mystical Shine Ball spammer. And with that, that'll be all for this Structure Deck R Lost Sanctuary R opening. As usual, if you enjoyed this video, do give it a like. Let me know what you guys think about these new cards in the comment section down below. And don't forget to subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG, booster box, and product openings on the day of release. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Video.